Hello and welcome to America in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I am Dan McCaleb, executive editor of the Center Square Newswire service. Joining me today is the Center Square's Washington, D.C. bureau chief, Casey Harper. Another busy week in Washington and across the country. We are recording this on Friday, August 25th. Casey, Republicans hoping to win their party's nomination for president ahead of the 2024 election debated for the first time this week in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Of course, the front runner by far, former President Donald Trump, skipped the debate and did his own thing with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Separately, Trump turned himself into authorities in Georgia the day after the debate to face charges he tried to overturn the 2020 election in the Peach State. Had his mugshot taken, the whole works, but that's a whole other episode of America in Focus this week, so listeners should go check out that segment at americastalking.com. For this segment, Casey, let's stick to the debate. You covered it. What were your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, the debate was very fiery. It was a little crowded up there. I mean, I'm sure for many Americans watching, they're saying, who is that guy on the end? A couple of candidates, I think, had almost no name recognition. And as our Center Square Voters' Voices poll shows, they have no support, really, or at least less than 1%, 0%. There's several candidates up there who have, 0% or 1% or maybe 4%. Whereas the poll shows, Donald Trump is far out and ahead, leading by, dozens of points, right? I mean, over 30 points, I believe. DeSantis is in second. And,
Florida
Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican there, who's seen for a while as the only challenger to Trump, though. That's confidence has started to erode. And, so the podium goes from the middle outward, middle being the highest. The middle podium has the highest support. So it's, Ron DeSantis and then Vivek Ramaswamy is next to him. And Ramaswamy actually really stole a lot of the spotlight. DeSantis's team said going into the debate that they expected a dogpile on DeSantis, that all the candidates would go after the second place, which is DeSantis, and pile on him. But that's really not what happened. Many exchanges, DeSantis kind of faded to the background, wasn't even in the conversation, but Ramaswamy rose to the top as a very combative candidate. Now, I think there's some pros and cons to that. I think at times Ramaswamy came off as combative, as a little bit maybe arrogant, a little bit cocky, but he also made a lot of good points. He landed a lot of good shots he absolutely, in my opinion, destroyed Chris Christie. Earlier in the debate, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie landed a pretty funny line on Ramaswamy, saying he's like Chat GPT because of how he sounds. But then later on in the debate, Ramaswamy just decked Christie, saying his entire campaign was based on vengeance against Trump, and the way it was said was really funny. And when they were going back and forth, at one point, Chris Christie got so booed that he had to stop talking a couple of times. So, I think for Ramaswamy's perspective, he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, which is name recognition and putting himself as equal to these lifelong politicians, people who've run states. He's just kind of a no-name businessman. So I think he did that. He elevated himself to being one of their peers, one of their equals. He set himself apart. He talked a lot about how we need a younger candidate, someone to, cast a new vision. It can't be an established politician. We need an outsider. So he did that. I think DeSantis maybe held the line. He didn't make any huge mistakes, although he has gone viral for how when the moderator asked, would you support Trump even if he were convicted of a crime, right? Would you still support him for president? And, Ramaswamy immediately rose his hand. Other candidates pretty quickly rose their hands. And this video, which has gone viral on Twitter and social media right now, it shows Ron DeSantis kind of look to see the other candidates and then raise his hand. And he has like a 1.5 second delay. Now, it could be he zoned out. It could be he just he just kind of missed a step. But in the video, it kind of looks like he looked to see what other people would say before making his own decision. So he's taken a lot of flack for that. But otherwise, things haven't moved too much. I mean, we can go one by one, but I'd be curious to hear, what you thought or what you've heard as kind of key takeaways as well, Dan.
Well, yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. I guess my biggest takeaway is that at this point, no one distanced themselves from the other candidates who are significantly trailing Trump in polling and whatnot. So no one really distinguished themselves. It was an entertaining debate, I guess, if you like the back and forth arguments and the trying to talk over each other stuff. But after this first debate, Donald Trump still remains the front runner by far. I guess it'll be interesting to see new polling after the debate. I just don't see it moving the needle one way or the other for anybody. Maybe Ramaswamy, just because he's so unknown to many voters, and he finally got his chance, to get out there on national television. It was broadcast on Fox News, and maybe that'll help him a little bit. But in terms of the how he did in his performance and how all the other candidates did, no one set themselves apart, I don't think.
Right. So, yeah, it is a very interesting primary. I mean, it's kind of unprecedented where we have the first place contender not there, and then everyone else fighting for second place. But second place is so distant from first, you wonder if it's even relevant. And I was thinking about this during the debate. What I kind of landed on was for someone like for Ramaswamy, for instance, who he praised Trump multiple times. So he's praising his biggest competition. He said that Trump was the greatest, president of this century. He said he would pardon Trump immediately if he were elected. And so I'm like, what is Ramaswamy doing here? So one of two things: either he's planning, he's just getting his name out there so that when he runs again in 2028, he'll be a pro-Trump, Trump 2.0 alternative. So when Trump has kind of had his time, which I guess is not a bad long-term strategy. But then I was thinking, okay, short-term, what's he doing? Well, if he really is positioning himself as Trump 2.0, if Trump really does get arrested and put in prison, and maybe he decides to bow out of the race because of some of his legal troubles, or maybe him going to prison is enough to have a lot of people say, man, Trump's literally in prison. Ramaswamy's pretty good. He's basically a younger version of Trump. He's going to pardon Trump. Maybe I just support Ramaswamy. I get a different I get a Trump 2.0 and I get Trump pardoned. And, maybe something like that could be enough to push Ramaswamy over the edge. So those are kind of the two outs I saw for Ramaswamy. Some of those other candidates, they're basically, I think, just hoping that Trump goes to jail because otherwise, they have no chance.
The next debate, I think, is scheduled for next month. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it's September 27th.
Okay, so look forward to that. Don't expect Donald Trump to show up at that debate either. But with Trump and all of his legal problems, because despite the fact that he's outdistanced the other candidates by far, that those legal problems still are sort of a wild card in the GOP primary. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for your insight into this story, Casey. Listeners can keep up with it at thecentersquare.com. We are out of time. For Casey Harper, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.